Hey guys! I know I usually start with a disclaimer for my videos, but this is a seasonal event, so it's going to change year to year regardless. The 2024 summer event is finally here, and I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know so that you can get the most out of this year's event. As always, we have some exclusive decorative items, a special event map, exclusive Pokemon, and much more. This year's event introduces a few more interesting additions to the way events work, but other than that, this event is pretty standard, so this video is going to be relatively short. So without further ado, let's go over this year's event. The summer event starts on July 11th and will end on August 1st. This gives you around 3 weeks to enjoy everything that's offered from the event. As with all of the other events, the summer event has an exclusive event map that you can access for a limited time. In order to access the event map, you must have first beaten all 8 Kanto gyms and received all 8 badges. You don't have to beat the Elite Four, you just need the badges. Once you've met that criteria, you can head to any Pokemon Center and talk to the event sailor to get taken to the event map. Here you can encounter Pokemon that will scale with your current team level. They can also drop Seashells and 2 new exclusive decorative items. At least on the regular map. We'll dive more into dropped items and exclusive Pokemon later in this video. Unfortunately, the summer event is the only event that doesn't have an event gym, which means there's no free decorative item. So you don't really have much to do aside from just enjoying your time grinding. But we do have a brand new feature that's going to start with this year's event and continue on to other events in the future. Starting with this year's summer event, certain types of Pokemon are going to be getting a global stat boost during the event. This means that no matter where you are, these Pokemon types are going to be receiving a small stat boost. During the summer event, Fire, Water, and Ground-type Pokemon will be getting a 1.25 times boost to all of their stats aside from HP. This is going to make grinding on the event maps a whole lot easier, and it's also going to make grinding on some outside areas like Ancient Dungeon a lot easier than before. Again, this feature is going to continue on to future events, with certain types getting a small stat boost. Of course, as with all of the other events, we've got some exclusive Pokemon you might want to pick up while you're here. You can catch Petilil and Heatmore as rares during this year's event. I recommend picking these 2 up while you can, as you won't be able to get them until next year's event. And obviously, we can't talk about exclusive Pokemon without mentioning the Legendaries. Since last year's Halloween event, more and more Legendaries have been added to each event to let players have some variety, and this year is no different. We've got a total of 6 different Legendaries that you can hunt, assuming you hit the right Pokedex requirements. Volcanion is still going to remain the signature summer event exclusive and can be found in either the Blazing Tropics or the Underwater Hot Spring. This means that it's accessible to everyone, which is awesome because Volcanion is a pretty solid legendary. And guess what? This year, it can't explode. They're removing a lot of moves from wild Pokemon movesets, such as priority moves and self-damaging moves, which is like, thank God, dude. Also, yes, this does apply to other legendaries like Azelf, as it no longer has Explosion, and a lot of other Pokemon that have priority moves. Due to this, the best wall for Volcanion will continue to be bulky water types such as Gastrodon, Jellicent, Mantine, and Seismitoad. Moltres has been added to Blazing Forest as a legendary. This area is also accessible to everyone, so you get a choice between either hunting Volcanion or Moltres. You can reach this area just by heading directly up and left from the sailor. I recommend bringing something like a defensive Arcanine or a Rotom Heat in order to wall Moltres. Also, just a quick note, enhanced items have been changed and will now work on event maps, so you're free to use an enhanced feather of Moltres. This applies to Moltres and any other legendary that I mention with an enhanced item from here on out. Next, we move on to the 400 Dex area, which is Stark Crater. Here you can find Entei while on land and Heatran while surfing and fishing. Yes, you can surf on the lava. There's also a 1 in 50,000 chance for a wild Pokemon to drop the Cameruptite. I recommend bringing a Flashfire Houndour for Entei, and a defensive water type like Mantine or Gastrodon for Heatran. And lastly is the 600 Dex area, which is Mythical Beach. Here you can encounter Victini on land, which is awesome because Victini used to be a PvP only legendary, so it's great that we can just encounter it. I recommend bringing a Jellicent as it's a pretty good wall, however a Flashfire Chandelure or a defensive Gliscor are pretty solid as well. Okay. I'm in the middle of recording background footage for the video, and oh my god. Okay, sure. Sure. I hope this video turns out good, man. I think we can heal off most damage, yeah. Especially with leftovers. Okay. Definitely gonna have to use a couple potions. I did not think this through. Thank you to everybody PMing me. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. As you can tell, I'm just a little unprepared. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Unfortunately, yeah, it didn't sync. I was going for Jolly, but it's fine. I want to say I got this at 89,000 Legendless? Something along those lines. I really should have invested more defense EVs into this thing, because it- oh yeah, wow, I didn't even EV train it. Wow, look at me. Okay, once this thing runs out of Zen headbutts, it literally can't hit me. I cannot believe I got this while I was recording background footage. What are the chances? Okay, now it's using reversal. It's only using reversal, so we're probably gonna have to Never mind. Neutral, pretty good stats. I will take it. Hell yeah, man. Back to the video, I suppose. That was a little scary. As for surfing and fishing, you can encounter Manaphy. Manaphy is fully walled by Shedinja. There's also a 1 in 50,000 chance for a wild Pokemon to drop the Gyarados. All of these legendaries will have the event legendary encounter rate of 1 in 100,000 or 1 in 66,000 with gold membership. Regardless of where you grind though, every Pokemon on the event map has a chance of dropping Seashells. This is the exclusive event currency that you can exchange with the event sailor for exclusive rewards such as ability capsules, TM boxes, and water balloons. Water balloons kind of act like mystery boxes where they give you a random item. However, for this year's event, they've also added some new Pokemon rolls as well, which I think is pretty cool. What you use your Seashells on is up to you, there's really no best use of them. Currently, the drop rate of Seashells is unknown. During this event, there will be a 2-time shiny weekend starting on July 12th at 3 PM server time and ends on July 15th at 3 PM server time. This means that shiny rates will be doubled for all encounters during that weekend. This also includes Pokemon rolled from shops, rolled from eggs and Pokemon boxes, and rolled mounts from the credit shop. However, this will be the very last 2-time shiny weekend during a summer event, as they're moving those weekends to specifically only happen during the Easter and Halloween events. They will no longer be a part of the summer and Christmas events after this one. There will also be a 2-times legendary weekend starting on July 26th at 3 PM server time and will end on July 29th at 3 PM server time. This means that every single legendary Pokemon will have their encounter chances doubled from 1 in 125,000 to around 1 in 62,000. Or if you're hunting an event legendary, which most of you are likely going to be, it's around 1 in 50,000. Legendary chances are also doubled for Pokemon boxes, so be sure to save up your boxes until then to get the best chance of rolling a legendary. And while it's not tied to the event, I should mention that there will be 2-times Clan War token weekend starting from August 2nd and ending on September 2nd. This means that all Clan War token rewards will be doubled between those dates. Now let's talk decorative items. Decos are a staple of events, and this event is absolutely no exception. Here's every decorative item and mount that you can get during this event and how you can get them. First, there are the exclusive Deco drops. These have a 1 in 10,000 chance to drop from any wild Pokemon on any map that isn't Dex locked. These are the Tentacool hat and the Empoleon Trident Beak. For the Dex locked areas, however, we've got some new exclusive Deco drops as well. Starting with this year's Easter event, a new drop table has been added to the Dex locked areas, with both an exclusive mount and a shiny variant of it able to be dropped off of wild Pokemon. In Stark Crater, you have about a 1 in 333,000 chance to get the Summer Entei mount, and a 1 in 1 million chance to get the shiny variant of it. Similarly, on Mythical Beach, you have a 1 in 333,000 chance to get the Summer Victini mount, and a 1 in 1 million chance of getting the shiny variant of it. These 4 can have their drop rates boosted by using stuff like drop rate blessings, compound eyes, and the greed charm. These 4 are not exclusive to this year's event specifically, and will come back in future years. Next, we've got the Flamingo Floaty, which can be purchased from the Seashell shop for 200 seashells. And of course, we can't forget about the credit shop decos and mounts that you can get by donating to the game and receiving credits. Personally, I really like a lot of these decorative items. My favorite has to either be the Magma Cape or the Mega Charizard Y mount, they just look so freaking cool. One other thing I'd like to briefly cover are instances. Essentially, every map will have a player cap of 25 players. After hitting 25 players, a new instance of that map will be created and more players can play on that map. Think of it like copying a room where it's the same room but with different players. If you're trying to get on a specific instance, let's say if you're trying to play with a friend or something, you can just keep going in and out of loading zones until you hit the instance you want. And lastly, there's a couple more things that I'll quickly go over as it's just standard stuff for all events. Experience has been boosted globally by 50%. This means regardless of where you are in the game, you'll still be getting that 50% boost. This boost also stacks with other boosts such as altar blessings. If you're trying to level up your Pokemon quickly, I highly recommend grinding on the event maps. The wild Pokemon here scale with your level, however, it caps out at level 83. Treasure chests are also going to be spawning more frequently. And finally, credit donations have been given a 10% boost during the event. So if you're planning to buy credits, I would do it now. With that covered, that's everything you need to know for this year's summer event. But there's one last question. What should I do? Well, you're kinda free to do whatever you want, assuming you have enough dex entries to get whichever legendary you'd like. If I had to give a recommendation though, I would just stay in Blazing Tropics and fish for Volcanion. Encountering a legendary while fishing will give you a lot of experience and you'll just be gaining some passive experience anyways while you're grinding. Plus, Kyogre altars are bound to be active a lot, so it's a great use of your time. And that's it for this year's event. Though, along with this event, we've got a couple patch notes and changes that I'd like to go over. Consider this part of the video sort of a mini update week. Let's just go down the list. As I stated previously in this video, a bunch of moves have been removed off of wild Pokemon movesets. This is going to make wild Pokemon much less of a headache to catch, and I think is overall going to benefit the game a lot. You can still teach your Pokemon these moves via the move relearner, however they won't have them in their wild movesets. Similar to the Mystery and TM boxes, Evolutional Stone boxes have now been given a jackpot prize and have a 1% chance to reward you with a random Mega Stone. This is awesome as it gives Evo Stone boxes more of a use. The Hunter Charm got a pretty substantial buff as well. Instead of costing the player 50 each encounter, it will now reduce experience and money drops by 50%. The items needed to encounter Zekrom and Reshiram have had their crafting recipes changed to include the Smoke Ball instead of a specific type of Pokeball. Necrozma has also been added to the Battle Tower shop for 35,000 tokens, which is really nice. They've increased the amount of Pokemon that can drop the Cat mount as well, which adds in some of the new Gen 7 Pokemon. The wild Pokemon in Altering Cave have had their levels reduced from 100 to 80. I think this is a really great change as it was pretty tedious to grind there on certain days if the spawns weren't good, so the level reduction is really gonna help. Next is the Shiny Shop, which has seen a price reduction for a lot of items, as well as the added bonus of a lot more of them now being tradable. Similarly, the Battle Queue has had the starter Megastones added for 2,250 CP each. They've also reduced the Ultra Beast prices to 1,000 CP, as well as the Pinsirite and Altorianite to 1,750 CP. There's also a couple PvP changes, specifically for Monotype tournaments, with them banning some Pokemon, Megastones, and items. That's pretty much it for what I consider to be the big changes of this patch, so let's move on to the smaller changes. Starter Pokemon Megastones can no longer be crafted back into shiny orbs. Swarms will now no longer appear in Safari Zones, Mossy Cave, or End's Castle. Money notifications have been given a really nice quality of life change where it tells you whether or not your drop was affected by your ability or item. Pokemon specific drops have been expanded to include the full evolution line. And finally, there were various bug fixes, most of which include Pokemon now being able to learn event exclusive moves if they have a specific nature. And with that, that's everything in this year's event and this week's patch notes. Be sure to check out my channel Discord server by clicking the link in the description. Also be sure to check out the official PokeNexus Discord server to know if anything has changed during the event by doing /Discord in-game. I don't really have much of an outro for this video other than I really hope this video helped. Thank you all so much for watching, good luck during the event, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.